whoever missed this needs to watch this because I think, you guys all that were here, this is valuable stuff. I mean, this is huge. I'm already thinking in terms of people's automatic email response and many more questions. That question alone, about what would you change about the current home you're in right now? What's a game-changing question right there? Okay, guys, we'll get started in a few minutes. If you are here for the webinar, How to Not Get Ghosted, you're in the right place. I think everybody wants to know about what does that mean? Well, first of all, Gus, we'll start this right now because people might be tuning in. I don't know if we could push this, Troy. Is there any way we can push this to social or stream it?
Yeah, you'd have to go through your own account.
Okay, it's all good. We'll also get it on YouTube here shortly.
Cool.
So, Gus, why don't you introduce yourself? I think people are coming in. Maybe they know you, maybe they don't. I know you are the founder of PowerISA, and a subject we're all interested in today. We're here for how to not get ghosted. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and why we should be tuning into this subject.
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much, Marcus. Thanks for having me in the group. Everybody, welcome. Gus with PowerISA. I run a virtual call center where people make phone calls and they help out in that conversion process, right? And I think one of the biggest, most important lead sources that we use is Facebook. Get a bunch of leads from Facebook. In one single project, I have a 100-person call center. One of my projects, we called over 220,000 Facebook leads, right? For one specific, part of my company. It was a pretty awesome project. So we know Facebook leads. We're working with them for years and years and years, and we understand the challenges, right? I still believe it's probably the top lead source every real estate agent should use right now because it's so many people are on it, so much attention is on it. But it comes with its pros and cons, right? Like everything. And one of the most interesting topics we can touch on is this whole topic of ghosting and being ghosted. But that's my background, right? I'm a former Microsoft engineer, turned real estate agent, turned inside sales guru, if you will, right? Because I've been doing this since 2015, have 100 people working for me. And we do all kinds of calling for folks. Facebook leads, Google leads, Realtor.com, Zillow, and another part of my company does outbound prospecting. So anything related to real estate and the phone, we probably have done or we're doing right now. So that's kind of my kind of background. And in that space, in that process, the challenges of converting these leads is kind of what we do. It's our bread and butter, and we're always looking for ways to improve that conversion rate, improve that experience. Because it doesn't get easier. It probably gets more challenging as time goes by. But I think we can also get more prepared. We know a lot more about Facebook leads and the challenges they pose now than we did 5, 6, 7 years ago, right? We know much more about that. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So want to jump in? Can I jump into the topic, Marcus? Sounds good?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, like, street text has been around since 2015 as well. Our algorithm has shifted and changed. Leads are way different today than they were then. And I think the key is most leads that are generated today are naturally more skeptical and have defense mechanisms up more now than ever. Right?
100%. And I'm going to get tactical with that. And that's a great point, Marcus, because when we started this company, PowerISA, you could call a Facebook lead and go straight. We would use the same script we would use for Zillow to talk to these Facebook leads, right? Didn't know any better. This is long. Well, 2015 doesn't seem like that long ago. Technology-wise, it was a really long time ago, right? As technology has evolved. So we would use essentially the same script. Hey, great. When do you want to buy a home? And what kind of home do you want to buy? And when do you want to be in one? And are you pre-approved? And are you working with an agent? That's awesome. And we would have a lot of success with that script, right? We'd have a lot of success. We would talk to us, they'd tell us this or that. The conversion rate obviously was lower compared to a Zillow or Realtor.com. But again, the economics of Facebook just made it like an amazing opportunity, right? Hey, let's bring them all in. Give me those $1 leads. Boom, 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 right? Let's call through everybody. And of course, the approach has changed since then, right? The approach has changed. The biggest shift that we've seen from a lead conversion perspective is that same script, that Zillow, hey, when do you want to go see a home? When do you want to buy? And what kind of home? Great. that script is much less effective now than it was 6-7 years ago, much less effective, right? And I'm going to get into a little bit about why we think that is, but because a lot of it has to do with this topic of ghosting, right? And if people don't understand what that means, it's kind of a newish term, I want to say. It's from, the kids love it. I'll say that. The kids love the term. It's used in anything from online dating to sales, to any kind of those situations. And in real estate, I like to define it very simply. It is an online lead that came into your system. You reached out to them and you had a conversation with them. This is important, right? You contacted them. You had a conversation. Hey, this is Gus with ABC Real Estate. I got your message through Facebook, and you go into your spiel, and they responded. They told you about their real estate search, the home they're looking for, and it typically goes in the direction of, yeah, Gus, but I'm not really ready yet. Oh, perfect. When is a great time to follow up with you? Yeah, probably, maybe a month from now. Give me a call then, I'll have a better idea. Or later on, maybe I'll tell you 6 months out, I'm at least a year out. But as agents, we're trained not to wait a year to call them back. They're already going to be in their new home a year from now, right? It could be. So you got to follow up sooner than that, right? If they say 6 months, it should be 3 months. If they say a year, it should still be 3 months. And we're going to call them sooner than a year out, right? So the ghosting happens when you call them back, when you text them, when you email them, and it's like they don't even know who you are. There's no response. There's crickets, right? An even more frustrating version of this is when you book them to an appointment. Like, hey, let's do a follow-up call. I'm going to bring you some material. Oh, yeah, sure, Gus. Give me all that. Give me that follow-up. Give me that material. I want to hear it. Great. Awesome. And then you call them like 2 days later or the next week, and the same thing happens. They're not responding. They've gone unresponsive, right? You mark them in the CRM term, I think is not responsive, not. I don't think there's a ghosted tag in most CRMs. I don't think so. There should be probably, right? Because that lead is no longer responding to you, right? That lead is no longer returning those calls, not picking up those calls, not responding to those text messages, not responding to those emails, right? Guess what, folks? You have been ghosted, right? That lead has gone unresponsive to you. Well, now what do, right? Well, calling them more intensely, probably not going to work out. So I'm going to talk about that scenario. I'm going to talk about my experience in converting Facebook leads at a really, really high level and kind of what I've learned, right? So like the way Markus mentioned that things have changed for these leads, you said a really specific word, Markus, skepticism, right? The leads have become, I don't like the word skeptical. I'm going to say more savvy, right? They've become more savvy. They know why you're calling, right? The typical real estate lead that comes from Facebook isn't Zillow.com. Facebook isn't Realtor.com, right? It's an interruption-based marketing system. They're doing something else and they're looking at an ad. Hey, this looks interesting. Let me check this out. I want to look at those homes. I want to look at a list of homes like that. I want to, like the great ads you get from Street Text. The ads are designed to catch their attention, right? It takes a lot of the, legwork for you guys of what kind of an ad should I put on there? What kind of an image should I put on there? That's the magic of Street Text. It makes it really simple. You're going to get their attention, right? Oh, interesting. I wonder what this is about, right? But the scripts for a lot of, I'm not saying maybe you guys are the exception, maybe not. But for a lot of agents, the scripts haven't changed from 7 years ago. We're calling them and we're asking them, great, I got your message to Facebook. You want the homes list. Just want to ask you what kind of home you want. What's your time frame? Are you pre-approved? The script hasn't changed. The script hasn't for a lot of folks. I dare say the majority of the industry, because I have clients all over the US, all over Canada, and I can tell you this, right? A lot of them still have that approach. It's an approach that I like to call transactional, right? It is a transactional approach. And it comes through the way we're asking the question. Hey, are you ready to buy yet? We're saying, and more or less in a way saying, are you ready to buy now, right? Okay, when are you going to be ready to buy? Because I'm really interested in when you're going to go see homes. That we're not saying those things, but the consumer is hearing that, right? They want to get specific about how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, and what neighborhood. And the pre-approval question is my favorite, right? Are you pre-approved yet? Okay, cool. That's awesome. Because we want them to say yes to all those things. We're happy. Maybe it even comes through the phone. Oh, this is so awesome that you're pre-approved. That's great. That's awesome. Are you working with another agent? No, even better, right? So we're approaching that conversation to see if that person's ready to buy now. That is the approach. And that's the normal approach. I used that for years, that approach, right? Because it was working so well. But then suddenly, unless you're watching your numbers, you realize that started to not work so well. And it's gotten worse and worse and worse, right? Every year, if you stay with that approach. Because my theory on why that didn't work, you can have many interpretations of that. Numbers don't lie, but the interpretation can be different. My interpretation is that the consumer caught on to us. They caught us. They go, ha, Gus, you want to get me and go see homes. I know what you're trying to do. I get it. I understand it. That's awesome. And in reality, that's really what I want. I'm calling Facebook leads to sell them homes, right? That's the whole point. I'm like, what do you mean, Mr. Consumer, that you call me? This is exactly what I want to do. What's going on here? But the consumer, especially the consumer that's on Facebook, an interruption-based marketing system, might not be ready. Okay? They might not be ready. They might actually be 6 months out. They might actually be a year out, right? And the challenge there, the disconnect, the fundamental issue that I see as agents when we talk to some of these leads is that they might be in this part of the funnel, and we are, with everything we're saying, the questions we're asking, the intensity of our outreach, we're asking them, are you down here in the funnel? Are you down here, right? Because that's where I want to be. I want you to be there. Or you're not there? That's cool. Tell me when you're there. And what happens, folks, when we reach out to them the following week, the following month, they're like, yeah, I'm not there. And Gus wants me to be there. Yeah, I don't see any reason to talk to Gus right now. That's my general theory on ghosting, right? That's my general theory. We are not meeting the client where they are. We're not meeting the client where they are, right? So they see absolutely no reason to respond to that call, to respond to that text message, to respond to that email. There's no point in that, right? I see no reason. I'm not pre-approved yet. You want to ask me my pre-approval? I don't know that. And I haven't done that. It's too soon. Asked about working with an agent. I'm not ready to work with an agent yet because they're convinced the agent is transactional, right? I talked to an agent to open the door and make an offer, right? Isn't that what agents are for? They open doors and they write offers. That's what they do, right? The consumer really believes that, right? And you'll see this kind of crazy demographically. The younger the consumer is, the more they believe that even more. Like, can I have an app to replace today's agent? If I could click a button like buy a home, wouldn't that be better? Like, people really believe this, guys. A lot of people are chuckling. This is an actual belief, right? Some of this younger demographic does not know why we have real estate agents, right? They also probably haven't bought homes either. So there's a high correlation with that belief and not actually going through the experience. Well, guess what? We know differently, right? Those of us that have actually gone through the process as consumers and as agents know there is no button to buy a home, guys. That's not real. It's not that actual way it works, because it's a very emotional experience. It takes a lot. People can really think about it. They can delay. They're not sure. There's anxiety. And let alone forget about the bidding wars and these multiple offer situations that add even more anxiety to some of these clients. There's more to it than that. But guys, the consumer doesn't know. And here's the mistake. I'm getting to the mistake part, right? When I said that we're not meeting them where they are, there's more to it than that, because you might think erroneously, as agents, we might think erroneously that, well, I can't talk to someone that's a year out, Gus. I'm like, I don't want to talk to those guys. I can't add any value to those folks. What you're really saying is, I open doors and I write contracts. That's what I do, Gus. So when they're ready to open doors and write contracts, they should talk to me. Otherwise, I'll put them on automatic drip and they'll call me, right, when they're ready to go. That's not the way it works either. That's not the way it works either, right? It would be easy. We'd be done. There'd be no PowerISA if all you did was put someone on a drip and they'd call you when you were ready to go, right? It doesn't really work that way. So my proposal, the reason I made this talk on this topic, is I'm going to propose to you guys a change, right? You should be doing this a little bit differently, right? You should, in your approach, in your mindset, because mindset comes through on the phone. They might not be able to see you, but they can tell if you're upbeat, if you're standing, if you're kind of slouched and not really paying much attention. All of those things come through on the phone. If you're only looking for people at the bottom of the funnel, that approach comes through on the phone. It comes through with the way your tonality, the questions you're asking, all these things. I'm suggesting you always assume the people are at the top of the funnel. That's a change of approach. And I'm not the only person to say this. A lot of really smart people are saying this. I'm telling you what I've heard from really smart people. And more importantly, what I've seen work in the market of right now, summer of 2022. The savvy consumer doesn't want to tell you how many bedrooms and bathrooms they're looking for, right? Because quite frankly, folks, they might not even be sure, right? And let's be honest, you guys have been doing this for a while. How useful is it for them to tell you how many bedrooms or bathrooms to tell you off the first conversation you have with them, right? There's more nuance to it. There's more context to that, right? 100%. So I'm telling you folks, start off assuming they're at the top of the funnel, right? Because that's usually the first objection we get. Oh, no, I'm not ready to look yet. Oh, I'm just getting started, Gus. No, I don't need any help, right? The consumer is saying, I'm not transactional yet. You're transactional. I don't need you. I don't need you right now. And that's the biggest mindset shift you have to make. Like, oh, no, Mr. Potential buyer or seller. I know you're a year out. I know in fact, one of our phone scripts actually says this. Hey, I totally know you're like a year out. No problem. I just wanted to add this piece of value that's useful for you right now, right? I just wanted to talk to you and see, what do you not like about your current home? What would you change about your current home? I love that question. What would you change about your current home? Because I promise you they know that. That they know, right? They might not know if they want a ranch style home, 2-story, a pool, a big yard, a smaller yard. Are they willing to compromise on yard? Who knows, guys? It might be too soon to have that conversation. What would they change about the home they have right now? I can tell you that right now. And I'm not moving from this house in a while. I can tell you that right now. I can start a conversation there. That's a conversation starter. That is not a transactional question, right? That is not a question that only someone at the bottom of the funnel can answer for me. And that's a much better question to start with, right? 100%. And for folks that are, I would look at every single script you've got. I would really look at that with a microscope and go, is this a question that only someone at the bottom of the funnel can answer? Because if it is, it shouldn't be in your script on first contact. It shouldn't be in your script, okay? It shouldn't, because that first call is primarily, it's more of a customer service call, okay? That's the approach that we teach our ISAs to do. Like, guys, especially with Facebook, it's probably the biggest case of this. The consumer can be very early in the process. So it's more of instead of, do you want to buy a home? Yes, right now or no, typical script. The customer service script, I saw your message. I just want to check in and see if you had any questions, right? Very different than you going in there, taking control and asking and filling out your questionnaire. Very different approach. I promise you the lead feels very different too. Like, okay, wait, what? Oh, well, I'm just getting started. And you can tell them, of course you are just getting started, right? Of course you are, 100%. I totally get it. Tell me, what would you change about the home you're in right now? Is there anything you would change about that? Oh man, I got more kids. My family's growing. I want to work from remotely now. My job's letting me work remotely, 4 days a week. So I'm like, might want to get some more room. Okay. That they know at that point. They want more room. And that's okay. That's as far as you get with that conversation. Okay. And then it's important for you to educate that lead on why we as agents are not just transactional, okay? Our job is, if you want to do a good job, right, is more than just opening doors and signing contracts. Okay? They're coming to us. The reason, so let me take a step back. The reason the residential real estate agent has not been replaced by Zillow, by Redfin, by Open Door, by all these other, massively funded and massively bleeding cash now, by the way, massively funded tech companies, is because there's more to it than the website and the button, guys, right? I've been in this business for a long time. I was licensed in 2010, so it's been a while now. And for the last 12 years, I've been hearing the real estate agent on its way out because this app came out. The real estate, remember, for the old timers in the room, map-based search, guys. Map-based search, this is Redfin version 1, Zillow version 1, Trulia version 1, was going to put us out of business, right? Because what other value can the agent add other than finding the home? I can find the home now on my phone, on my, what was used to be your PC, now then your phone and your iPhone and all this. No more agents are totally going to be, they're going to go extinct. It hasn't come true. If you look at the NAR statistics, more people are using agents now than before there was the internet, okay? That number went from 70, 80% pre-internet to like 95.7% post-internet. The complete opposite thing happened, right? Why? Because there's more to it than that, okay? So the reason I say that is because when you first talk to a lead, have a two-way conversation with them, it's about educating them on why they should talk to you a year ahead of time. Why? Why? The way we do that is to drop those nuggets on that call. Oh, you want some more space? That's awesome, because over here in Whitmore, there's amazing homes. You can get them with big backyards. And guess what? That's the best area in the whole county to get great property taxes, right? You want to drop those nuggets, and they're going to. So the moment, guys and girls, the moment the lead realizes there's something they don't know, something fun is going to happen. They're going to go, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. I just made up that example, but you got to come up with an example that you know as a real estate agent, that only you know because you're looking at inventory every day. Only you know because you just closed the home yesterday, 2 days ago, a month ago, right? It doesn't really matter what it is. It's got to be something valuable, and it's got to be something they don't know, okay? And that becomes priority one on first contact. Tell them something they don't know about. One that I really like, it's very relevant for the last 90 days. Yeah, if you perceive any nervousness about interest rates, a lot of my clients are concerned about interest rates right now. I just got one of my clients, the seller, to buy down the rate by 0.5 point, by maybe a whole percentage point. I mean, give me an example you're using, right? I just got them to do this. So guess what? They got a much better rate than they anticipated. That's interesting, right? I'm like, what? What is that? Tell me more about that, right? They have no idea on some of these things. They have no clue what that means, right? What does that mean? I heard interest rates are like going to go past 6%. Well, Mr. Lead, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. They're at 5.3 right now, right? Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. What does that mean, right? Mr. Lead, guess what? If they're nervous about the economy, with the rates, I just got one of my VA buyers a home this last month. I had not been able to do that for the last 24 months. They got accepted and they got great terms, and it was easy for them to get into a home. It's the best time to buy because those loan programs are awesome. They save you money. It's a great deal, amazing benefit. And I'm lumping in together VA, USDA, FHA, AAA, which one you want, right? We couldn't do those for the last 24 months. We're doing them now. Again, you guys know your market, right? And they're like, oh, what? Why couldn't you do those? So you want to drop something they don't know, because that realization that you know something that they don't know, what does that do? Impresses them, probably, maybe. But more importantly, it creates a need. Hey, well, what else do I not know? And what else do you know that might be interesting to me, might be useful to me, right? That's where you get started, guys. That is the fundamental mechanism, the thought process that I want you to put these leads through. Okay. I want you to do that. I need you to do that, because the more we remain transactional in the approach, this ghosting problem is a really common problem for you guys, right? The more transactional you are. So you can take this to the bank. If you change that approach and start from a customer service approach, of course you're a year out. Not a problem. I'm here to check in anyway, right? Just want to ask a few questions. And you drop that nugget in that conversation, however which way you can, drop that nugget. And this is where the scripting is important. And I know some people love scripts, some people hate scripts. I'm not talking about a 3-page, treaty, right? No. I'm talking about, you need to know if they're asking about interest rates, if they're not ready to go yet. Oh, of course. And it's one of the biggest decisions you're ever going to make, right? I know you're not ready to do that right. Of course, you're not ready to do that right now. Have the next question to ask after that, right? What would you, and the one I really like a lot, what would you change about the home you're in right now? How about that, right? That starts a conversation. That's a conversation starter. You can go deep on that one, right? And it gives you opportunities to drop some of that knowledge, right? Do they have kids? Do they have a family? Oh, that's awesome. A lot of folks are moving up to the North Shore School District. It's getting rave reviews. And guess what? 5 years ago, no one would go there. But property values have gone up. All the new constructions over there. And guess what? A bunch of 5-star schools are starting to pop up. You should check that out. Like, wait, what? Like that's what you want, right? Like, whoa, I had no idea about that, right? Again, even if they don't physically say that on the phone, like that, you want to plant the seed there, that you've got some interesting knowledge, right? And the knowledge doesn't have to be, don't make the knowledge transactional. Like, oh, I've got some great loan programs you might qualify for. Don't do that. Go further up. Go higher level, right? Like, where would they like to live? Higher level, okay? That, place yourself there. Because the funny thing happens, right? A lot of these folks that are 12 months out, well, they might be a little bit more honest with you, okay? They're like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. Because the more questions they start to ask, well, maybe they're not really 12 months out, right? But they're not going to give you that information, probably not even on the first call. They're not going to volunteer that for you, especially if you haven't given them a reason to talk to you yet, right? Give the consumer a reason to listen to you, okay? And don't make that reason solely they need doors opened and contracts written. That is a losing proposition with Facebook leads, losing proposition. Don't do that. Don't lock yourself in that box. I only talk to leads that are ready to go. Yikes. That is tough because this lead might be 6 months out. If you only want to talk to them from here to 5 months, another enterprising agent that took Gus's advice had 5 months to build a relationship with them. They trust Gus. They love Gus. They might have already given Gus a referral at the time it took you to return that call, right? Because they build that relationship. And home ownership is not pushing a button and picking a home on a map, right? There's more to it than that. A lot more to it than that. And if you become the guide for that person, the consultant, the expert, the guide, I like the word guide through this home buying process, then it is not only much more likely they're going to return that call, that text, that email, right? It is much more likely they're going to work with you. And they're going to want other people to work with you, right? Really, really important to kind of understand that shift, that change. And it takes some work. It takes some practice. It's very weird for us sometimes, especially at the beginning. Now, I had a whole call center were doing this. They were honed in on the transactional approach because it works so well. I mean, why wouldn't we do it, right? When we saw it not working that well anymore, okay, let's redo this. Let's take a step back here, right? Because we're being a little bit too transactional. And if the lead is not there, then they're totally going to blow us off, right? The more direct, assertive leads are going to go, yeah, no, thanks, bye. The less, most people are not that assertive. They're going to go, yeah, sure, call me later. Yeah, let's meet. Sure, I'll talk to you. Click, ghosted, bye. End of relationship, right? So really, really important to understand that and kind of get that process, understand that mindset shift, right? And understand that our approach, my opinion, this is Gus saying this, right? I could be wrong, My guess is that our approach has a lot to do with that. A lot to do with that. Okay. I believe you can increase those contact rates, not first contact rates, second contact rates. We're talking about people you've already contacted. Maybe we'll have the next webinar, Markus, should be on first, how to get the first contact. That's another problem. But I'm talking about people you've talked to, that you actually had communication with. Those folks, the probability of second contact, third contact starts with that impression you make on the first contact. That's the game, folks. That's the game. And those subsequent check-ins should never be, are you ready to buy now, right? Ready to go? How's that timeline going? That shouldn't be the check-in. The check-in should follow the same structure. Hey, Mr. Lee, I just saw this awesome blog post on the school district we talked about. Or even better, I just wrote a blog post on the top 5 reasons you should move to Whittier, to Del Rey, wherever it is, right? I know California names that I grew up there. You guys fill in the blank for whatever great neighborhood you've got there. 5 reasons you should go there. The 5 best restaurants in your part of town, right? The 5 newest businesses, right? I have kids, guys. I have small kids. So the 5 best things to do with your kids on the weekends in this area. Because I'll pull my hair out when I don't know what to do with my kids sometimes, right? Like you can only go to the park so many times, certain weekends in a row, right? Park gets old. So what do you do next? So 5 top things for kids to do, right, in this neighborhood. And if there isn't, find the content out there. But I think it's a great opportunity to make the content, to be very honest with you. We can talk about a content. That's another webinar, Markus, the content strategy for Jeets. Generate your own content, right? And that way you can give it to your leads and you get the magic of SEO as well. But anyway, that's another thing. But every time you reach out to them, it should be value first. Hey, I found this amazing piece of content for you. You're going to really enjoy it. Why? Because you're thinking of buying. And this is what someone that's in the process, the journey of buying, can help educate you. It's a really good one. Check it out. Right? Awesome. Great. And then you can ask, then you have permission to license to ask. And great. And how is that going for you guys? Are you still waiting on that life event that's going to happen? Great, because drop some more knowledge. I just saw rates do this. I just had an experience that did this. I just got 5 clients under contract, and that was a seller war instead of a buyer war. Sellers were fighting over them instead of buyers fighting over them. It's a great story. Want to hear about it? Great. Like, drop that next piece of knowledge and ask them where they are in the process, right? Ask them where they're at. Ask them about the last life event. Another key thing that I never let people do when they're off that first conversation, you have to have the question ready for the next conversation. Get off the phone, make a note in that CRM of yours, right? Got those CRMs, got those notes in there. Never forget to put, what's the next question I'm going to ask the next time we talk, right? Referencing that life event, referencing the need they have, referencing something specific about the conversation. And you're never going to remember that later. So you just got to put in the CRM right away. Boom, 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 boom. Ask about job transfer. Ask about the baby that's on the way. Ask about, the school district change you want to make, right? Give them content about that. Give them, what is their itch? You got to scratch that itch for them. What is it? What is the thing they want? And if you don't know, you might not know exactly that specifically. Great. What would any potential home buyer in this process want to know about, right? And, Street Text came up with a great campaign, which I thought was brilliant, targeting sellers that are downsizing, right? Guys, owners that are downsizing is a whole other plethora of things you can talk about, right? Talk about, different retirement communities and getting them the home chain moved over and the moving, and they need more help than other consumers, right? That demographic actually needs a full service agent, right? They need more help, not less help, especially if they're moving to another state. That is a big move, right? And that is where you can add a lot of value there. When you encounter clients like that, making cross-state moves, cross-country moves, you should become the project manager of that move, right? You coordinate with them, full service. Tell them how you helped other clients. Tell them how you solved problems for them, right? Tell them why you are a full service agent and why they need someone like that. So there's a whole other set of content you can provide for them. But a funny thing happens when you drop those nuggets, you make those pieces of value happen, people will respond to those calls. People will respond to some of those text messages. Not all of them. I don't want to make it up. Oh, you get 100% response rate. Not true, but you're more likely to get them to respond overall. Maybe not consecutively, right? I don't want to exaggerate this, but you're going to get a higher contact rate overall. You're going to change the approach. You're going to flip it on its head, right? And you're going to sound differently than every other real estate agent that's reached out to them. You're going to sound different. You're going to sound different because not everyone has caught on to this, especially with Facebook. Not really. A lot of the experiences agents have with Facebook is that I can never talk to anybody. And when I talk to them, no one wants to meet with me, right? Those are the number 1 and 2 complaints I hear about Facebook leads. Don't want to talk to them. And when I talk to them, they're totally unmotivated buyers. You're doing the wrong thing. You're approaching it the wrong way, right? Because I know agents that close over 100 transactions a year from Facebook leads that they got that same year, by the way, right? Teams that do this at the highest level, guys, right? Their goal isn't a 1% conversion rate from Facebook leads. No, their goal is a 5, 6, 7% conversion rate from Facebook leads within 12 months, right? How do they do that? Well, I mean, I don't want to say it's just this approach. The customer service approach is one of the ways because they have structure, they've got ISAs, they've got excellent thought, they've got the marketing plans, they've got all the things there, right? But one of the key components is that they do not behave transactionally with those Facebook leads. That's not where they are. They're not there. Don't treat them like that. Start broad, customer service approach. Add value, and I promise you magical things will happen, right, for you guys. Take that to the bank. It's a good suggestion. Any questions so far on this approach, on the question you got asked?
It's awesome.
Anything
Such great
else?
content. I think what you'll find, Street Text has been around since 2015. What we kind of known for, the bread and butter of up until even now, I would say, even if it's the market shifting and changing, would be the home value lead, right?
Of course.
The what's your home really worth? Enter your address, receive your home value style of lead. The downsizing ad is one of our most popular right now, obviously trending because of the market we're in, as are the buyer ads as well. So maybe, I don't know if anyone else has some questions, but that could be another great topic of discussion around the conversation around their home's value, especially right now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good thing. Thanks, Marcus. Yeah, you're right. Because the seller, the home valuation lead is very different from the home list lead, right? It's a very different, and I mean, if you've been doing this a while, you can kind of understand. You might be nodding your head, you might not know what I'm talking about, because it's a very different approach. Because that home valuation lead, right? I mean, think of it, right? As a consumer, as a homeowner, why would you want to know the value of your home, right? Vanity could be one of them, jealousy could be another one, you want to I want to have them, or selling your home at some point, refinancing your home. There's a lot of reasons that home valuation ad can cast a wide net. Even more important to start high in that funnel, right? That is probably the best example of how you cannot be transactional with those folks, right? You cannot, you're going to kill it, right? Because there's many reasons people can think about their home value. It is even more important with the home valuation leads to start broad and just have a conversation with them, right? Excellent. I got the information from your home, right? Great. That's amazing. I just have a few more. That's usually how those scripts go. I have a few more questions to give you a more accurate estimate, right? We have this, but you know what? I love to ask you a few questions, right? And you go through it, and it's so important in that script to kind of kill them with kindness. Oh, that sounds awesome. That's a great home. Amazing. That's great. Tremendous, right? Because what you want to do is build some rapport. You want to get a conversation going because you want to be able to ask the question. Awesome, right? This is an amazing home, Mr. Seller, man. These kinds of homes are selling in this much time with multiple offers in our area, right? So if you ever need help with that, man, this is one of the homes I'd love to market and offer to our buyers, right? If that ever becomes a need that you've got, right? I mean, the last thing you want to do with these leads, Marcus, is ask them, when do you want to sell your home, right? That's not what they're calling you for, actually. That's not. And you don't have permission yet to ask them that question. In our home valuation script, you're prohibited from asking that, right? When do you want to sell your home? Are you thinking of selling your home? Don't start there. That's not where they're coming to you. That's what everyone else is doing, right? Be a little bit different than that. Be a little bit different. And add some value. Great, because I'd love to send, in either case, I'd love to send you my free guide on the top 5 things you can do to improve your home value. Your home is already worth this much in that range. I'm pretty sure this is an amazing home. I'd love to send the top 5 ways you can even increase that home's value, right? If you're ever thinking of selling in the future, that'd be something you should take to heart, right? Dropping that piece of value does 2 things. 1, hey, Gus is awesome. Thank you, right? And 2, if they're interested in that, then they might be thinking of selling in the future, right? You got to find a way. This customer service approach is about asking different questions to get the answers you want, right? Ask different questions, because asking people the transactional questions doesn't work as well as it used to, right? Doesn't work as well as it used to. And those seller leads coming from Facebook are unbelievably valuable, right? And they know it too. They know it. They know you want to know if they want to sell your home. They know how valuable an asset that is in a market like this, right? They know that, guys. The consumer is much more savvy now, much more savvy. So going for the kill on the first call, I used to do it at a massive level, 100 people making calls doing this, right? But I noticed that shift, right? And it's only getting more pronounced every single year as time goes by. You need to rapport, relationship first. Give them a reason to listen to you. Give them a reason to continue that conversation, because in building that relationship and continuing that conversation, that's when you have permission to ask about the transactional aspect of your relationship, right? You get permission to do it. You earn the right to become their agent and help them on that journey. You earn the right to have them be a little bit more honest with you. I like and I hate the saying, buyers are liars, right? Oh, people, and they apply to all internet leads. Buyers are sellers. Oh, they don't tell the truth. Well, I like to, again, I'm kind of a positive guy, right? So I tell them, you know what? Change that. That's not true. You've given them no reason to be honest with you, right? They think you're the same as everyone else. You've given them no reason to think different. Give them a reason to think different, right? And the key insight that we've gained is in changing from that transactional to the customer service experience. Because if you're there to help them out and your questions sound like you're there to help them out, then you have a better chance of getting a response, a positive response, of building a relationship with them. Much better chance. And we've seen that, kind of time and time again. But yes, that home valuation lead, totally different kind of an approach, right? It's a different kind of mindset they've got, because if they are a potential seller, they know it, guys. And they know the agent's kind of barking at the tree, trying to find folks like that. So that'd be even more defensive. They want to keep those cards really, really close. So it's even more important to build that relationship, drop that knowledge, make it very relevant. And when I say drop that knowledge and drop that value, again, do not mistake that with transactional value. I'm the top agent in this neighborhood. You want to work with me. I've got all these certifications. I just sold this home for more than that's worth. Again, you're falling into the same issue, right? Don't think like the agent, like that in a transactional way. When you're adding value, think like the homeowner. What's in it for them? Yeah, I know you're a great agent, but what's in it for me? I have a great house, right? What would I need if I had a great house? How to improve that home, right? Because a good chunk of buyers are also sellers, right, Marcus? A seller might want buyer information, guys, right? A seller can need that. A seller can use that, right? How can you add value there? What would change about that home, right? I love that question. I'm high on that one. That's my go-to question right now when I'm talking to a lead. What would you change about the home you've got right now, right? Anything you change about that. Interesting, right? Something you've been looking in your next home, right? How would you change that, right? Interesting, great, that's awesome.
And that's a question too. I mean, I'm even thinking in the home value funnel that we have, which is, in many ways, the leads that we gather from Facebook, they're done dynamically. Address and email sometimes is all you got. And so, a big part of that automatic email that goes out is that first question. Does that first question evoke a response? I love that question right there, especially if it had your personality coupled with a video in there. I could see that being a really great question, rather than, have you done any updates or renovations that I should be aware of, right? Everybody asks that same question.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
It's probably the reason why most people don't get that question answered.
Exactly. And you said something really great, Marcus, the video aspect to this. Guys, so this is really important. even with an ISA assisting in this follow-up process, even with that, we are now requiring the agent to give us a video, right? Because that is a great way. Text them the video, email them the video, doesn't really matter. Get in front of them at least through video, right? At least through video. Introduce yourself, right? And again, sometimes you can't make that a specific per lead. And if you can make it specific per lead, even better. Hey there, Marcus, it's Gus. I just wanted to introduce myself. I see you're looking for a home in this area. I see you're just getting started. That's awesome. Please check out my blog post on the 5 best reasons to move here over to Bothell. You're going to love it. It's really interesting. Hope it adds a ton of value to you. Have a great day. That's it, guys. It's as simple as that. I didn't say buy. I didn't say sell. I didn't say timeline, pre-approved, working with another agent, right? That again, I'm not saying those questions aren't important. They are important. They might not be important up here, right? When you figure out that you can move further down the funnel or they're moving ahead of time, that's the right time to ask that question. Like, perfect. That's great. That's amazing.
I got Leon, who's been waiting patiently with his hand raised. Leon, if you want to unmute yourself.
So I can assume you're in Washington when you said Bothell. So same state. So here is the 2 questions. You might answer the second one with the first. So let's just say not counting as far as a single agent. If someone's already running an ISA or whatever, what is it would you say that stands your company apart to make it different than someone else? Because everyone's always going to, they're going to give you the hook that, hey, we're different than everybody else. What makes you guys different?
Well, I mean, that's a really good question. I'd say, my unbiased opinion, right? What I say that makes our company different is that number one, we recruit all of our ISAs from Mexico. That's where I'm from. And Leon, I worked in Bothell for about 10 years, but I'm in Mexico right now. So, I love Bothell. I still have a couple rentals up there. So it's a great market. And you can tell that it's, August, in Seattle because it's sunny outside. Right? It's the best month of the year to be up there. So love that area. But I'm in Mexico based, and Mexico has a lot of advantages. And I think one of our superpowers is that we only recruit out of this area, which I know the best, because I can find folks with a particular skill set, right? And when it comes to ISAs, there's many factors, right? The scripting, the training they get, the lead source they're working, but the actual ISA and their skill set is a massive part of that equation, right? Are you going to be able to get a good outcome from that? So the part that we can control is getting a great person. So I think that's probably, and that can go on for more and more, but I think that's the number one thing that sets us apart from the majority of ISA companies out there, is that we recruit our folks in Mexico. And I think 90% of the folks that work with us out of those 100 grew up in the US. They grew up in California, Texas, Arizona, Washington State. Actually have a massive amount of folks from Mexico living there. So the majority of our folks grew up there or on the border. I'm a border kid, actually. You might not believe this. I didn't grow up in the U.S. I grew up on the border with the U.S. So I grew up on Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers, right? So in the 80s. So for the older folks in the room, so that was big back then. That's how I learned English, actually, right? From the free TV you guys send over across the border. I loved it, right? So I think that's a big difference. That's a big difference. And on top of that, right, that's a fundamental difference. I think we're way ahead of the curve when it comes to these other changes of the customer experience approach, because we've done this for so long. Our call center has been around since 2015, right? I think most ISA, I can count on one hand the amount of forget ISA, virtual assistant companies that have been around that long, right? ISA companies, I can't think of one ISA company that's actually been around since 2015. So I think we've done this for a really long time, and that matters a lot.
Love it. Where can people find out more about the company?
Awesome. PowerISA.com is a great place to jump in and let us know you're coming from Street Text, because we have a great deal for folks that are coming from this group. So let us know. Hey, Marcus, we don't have we have a landing page yet? I don't think we have a landing page.
We need to build that out. We're going to build that out.
PowerISA. So it'll be built out. Hopefully by the time this is published on YouTube, PowerISA.com/street text. Keep it simple for folks. PowerISA.com/street text. Go there if you want to find out, kind of what we do, what we offer. And we have several different services for the folks that are generating 10, 20, 30, 50 leads a month. You don't need a part-time, even a part-time ISA. You don't need that, guys. right? You need, maybe at the most, you need someone to help with that first contact, right? And we have a first contact service per lead. You can do that. But if you have volume, or you have a date, maybe you don't have a bunch of new leads coming in, but your database is 3,000 leads. Okay, that you need. So I'm not here to tell you, everybody get an ISA. No, get an ISA if you need one, because they need to be busy. They can make 100 outbound calls, manual dial per day, right? So make sure they need to make 100 outbound calls, manual dial per day. Otherwise, you're not making a really good use of an ISA's time. An ISA, here's another thing I'm going to get in my ISA soapbox. An ISA should not get you off the phone. Okay, that's another big mistake. The next webinar, Marcus, why should I get an ISA? That's the other topic we're going to talk about. But the 1-minute summary of that upcoming webinar is the ISA is not there to get you off the phone. Fundamental mistake, guys. Fundamental mistake. If you are hiring an ISA to never make any more phone calls, you're going to fail, because the job of the ISA is to get you more people to talk to, right? It's just that they're further qualified. They're further down in that funnel. That's the thing. But this thought that the ISA is going to get you in front of people that are ready to sign is not accurate, guys. That's not true. It doesn't work that way. The ISA shakes the tree, and you pick up those fruits and you take them to the finish line, right? Whether that's an appointment or a signed client. The ISA cannot close those deals for you. The ISA cannot avoid you picking up the phone and calling those leads. They just make your calls more valuable. They make your calls more valuable, make you more efficient. It's an efficiency thing, okay? So I want to make sure people understand that part of it too, right? Like, oh, ISA, I give PowerISA my credit card, and the deals will flow in. No, you're going to become more efficient, right? Your calls will become more efficient. That is it. You're going to get assistance with all of those follow-up calls you got to make, right? Right. And if you paid attention to what I said today, they're going to help drop those blog posts to your database, right? They're going to help drop those event calendars to your database. Like, hey, check it out. It's summer in Seattle, man. There's things to do every weekend, right? Because it's sunny outside. Hey, we're going to Folk Fest over here. We're going to Seattle Center over there. We're going to go to whatever it's going on there, right? In that neighborhood, right? So what is the interesting thing going on? Give them that. Your ISA should help you distribute that content, right? Because it's a little bit different when someone sends a personalized message than if you just put it in the campaign, right? Because your ISA can drop that next question. What is the next question that you should ask them on the next contact? What is that next question? ISA can really help with that and deliver some of this really personalized content. I have not found, and maybe again, automation is amazing. Automation will catch up and will do this for you at some point. But I think right now that's a role your ISA should play. Help you do that personalized follow-up and drop those nuggets. Drop those videos, get that video and send it to that lead, right? And they should help make that an easier process for you. And ISA will not be able.
That was someone I just muted. Deborah, you have a question. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
I like your first line about what you don't like about your home. What are a couple other good lines to follow up? Keep the conversation going.
Let me unmute myself. Great, that's awesome. So you want to ask them. So the transactional question, remember, you're asking the same questions, you're asking them a different way. Remember the transactional questions. What's your timeline, right? What's your, are you pre-approved for a mortgage? Are you even thinking of moving, right? And what kind of home would you like? So what you don't like about the home is another way of asking, what are you looking for in your next home, right? So when you're asking about when do you want to move, right? You should never ask, most leads don't even know what the word timeline means when you're talking about, this purchase, right? So, hey, that's great. That's amazing. So when you ask them, it's a good follow-up question. When you ask someone about what they would like to change about that home, right? Listen to what they're saying. Active listening is another term that's really, really important. You got to really listen, because the next question, they're going to give you the cues for the next question. Oh, I need, my family's growing. I need more room here. Oh, that's awesome. Don't ask when they want to move. Ask, when would you like that thing to happen we just talked about? Right? It's another way to ask timeline. It's a different way. Does it give you as accurate an answer? I have never believed when you ask them what their timeline is, I don't think they're giving you an accurate answer with that question either, actually, right? I don't think that's not no one talks that way. What's your timeline? No one really says that, right? So make it relevant to what they just told you. I need some more room because, I just got a new baby. I'm going to be working from home and I need an office. Very common conversations to have with these leads. That's great. When would you like that thing you liked to happen, right? When are you looking to make that happen? At what point, right? And see what they say. See what they say. The more open-ended the question is, the better, actually, right? That's awesome. That's great. Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know. Oh, that's perfect. That's fine. I wouldn't know either. At this stage, right? Just wanted to ask you to see if you had any kind of an idea. If there's something you want to do in the near future, or maybe you're waiting for a couple of years, right? Until, oh, no. My job is happening. Okay, great. That's great. You took the edge off of it. Don't pressure them. First contact. Remember, folks, first contact, right? You shouldn't break out the objection handling script book, right? Like 18 objection handlers. So we have a concept for ISAs. It's called the 3 no's. Get to know, get to know, get to know. That is a cold calling approach, not a inbound Facebook lead approach, right? You don't want to handle their objections 3 times because they're just going to get you off the phone, right? This is not a cold calling scenario. It is an exploration scenario, right? It's an exploration scenario. So it's really important. And I don't have like a great script book on some of these questions, Deborah, because a lot of the next question depends on you listening to what the lead is saying, right? If you've listened to any anxiety about the current market, that was happening a lot during the last 2 years. Buyers were very nervous. Buyers were very anxious, right? Yeah, even sellers too. I can't sell this one. Where am I going to move to, right? What am I going to move to? Oh, that's a great opportunity to drop some knowledge. This was during the height of the pandemic. There was almost no inventory. Well, I'd love to share with you the plan that I use to get your home sold and get you ready for the next one, right? I have a whole plan about that. Would you like to learn more? Well, ask the question, right? Oh yeah, sure. That's if you detect any kind of anxiety around the move, right? So a lot of these questions are going to come from the conversation you're having with these leads, right? So yeah, that would be the next question, Deborah. The next question is, okay, great. What do you not like about that home? That's awesome. When would you like that to happen? Oh, that's amazing. That's interesting. Great. That's tremendous, right? We call those power phrases. That's great. You should always have you should exaggerate on them. I love the power phrases. That's great. That's awesome. Regardless of what they say. That's great. That's tremendous. That's amazing. I love that. That's beautiful, right? You want to move that area? That area is great, right? I love that area, right? Are you moving there because of the school districts? Because they've become really gone up from, and this happened in Bothell, actually. That's why I bring that Bothell example. One of our bordering school districts became a really great district. It happens when you have all this new construction come in and like 10 new schools get built in a few years, right? They tend to be really good schools, right? Because a lot of new homeowners are there. They might not know that. Drop that knowledge. And you guys know what that should be in your market. But I really want to push you to think about that, right? What would a potential buyer, why are they moving here, right? Why are they moving to my neck of the woods? That answer is very different in like a South Florida than it is in a Northern California. Why are people moving here, right? It's Northern California. It's a job. They got a job there. That's why they're moving there, right? If it's South Florida, it's the lifestyle. It's the entrepreneurship. It's this, it's that, something different, right? You know the answer to that question. Someone that's moving there for that reason, what's valuable to them? Why would they want to know? If it's the Seattle suburbs, they're probably moving there for the school system. That's excellent. Top one in the state, right? That's something interesting they want to know about. Tell them why you know a lot about that, right? What's interesting about that? They might be, and if they're moving and you're in Idaho or Arizona, you've got all these Californians moving in because they want to work remotely and lower their cost of living, right? That's a big reason. So a lot of that reason is going to be very specific to your location. But I'm gonna push you guys. Think about that. Because that informs your script. That informs those nuggets. Why would this nugget interest someone? Because they're thinking about school districts. They're thinking about remote work. They're thinking about they're a younger demographic. They want to play. They want entertainment, right? They've got a young family. They want to do stuff with kids, right? they sound like they're very focused on the economics of the purchase. Great. Here's some financial news, some financial information you're going to find really interesting, right? And guess what? I can actually probably get you a great deal, better than you expect, because we have room to negotiate right now, right? And some of my best clients that I love dearly are getting their offers accepted, even with some of these government programs for these loans. Oh, what is that? Oh, great. That's another conversation started, right? So this is harder to script. Don't get me wrong. These conversations are much harder to script than the transactional ones, right? Because we just go to the next question, next question, next question. Now you actually, one of the grades we have for our ISAs, our quality score, is actually active listening. One of the ways we score those calls. Did you actually listen to what they said and use that as part of the conversation, right? So easier said than done, guys. If you guys want to go back wonky, we can talk one day about that.
Yeah,
but
you know what?
It's hard.
This has been such amazing content, such high value. I mean, how many of you use your little chat, your little fingers, give them a little bit of love, give Gus some love. Steve got me into this, like the little fingers thing. We're gonna have
I'm taking it all in.
We already need to plan the next event. You know,
let's do it.
Why should I get an ISA? I think that's a great subject.
It's a great one. Why I should, and then equally important, why I shouldn't get an ISA is another.
Oh, we're gonna get everybody. Whoever missed this needs to watch this, because I think you guys all that were here. This is valuable stuff. I mean, this is huge. I'm already thinking in terms of people's automatic email response. And many more questions. That question alone, about what would you change about the current home you're in right now? What's a game-changing question right there? Like that Absolutely. One takeaway right now will be huge for you guys on your follow-up.
Yeah,
Gus, thank you so much. We're past the hour here. You've been awesome. If anybody wants to get a hold of Gus and his services, go to PowerISA.com. We'll be making some street text content for that as well.
Yeah, we got Mr. Russo saying that he wants to talk about first contact. We should put that on the list. That's a really good conversation, Marcus. How do you even talk to people? That's usually the first problem people have. How do I even talk to folks? Get folks on the phone.
How to get people to respond.
How to have a conversation with someone, a contact, right? Really, really good topic. I'm very passionate about that one too, because that's usually the first point of failure on these Facebook campaigns, for sure. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, your first impression could be your last.
Absolutely, absolutely.
As we know. All right, Gus, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and we will see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.